So we are going to finish up working on practice sheet 10 and do a couple of more problems. So number 8 is 33 divided by 2/10. So 33 should be inside and 2/10 is the divisor. So whenever we do a problem like this, remember our decimal has to be at the end of our number. So I'm going to have to move it. So I'm going to have to move it one place. So if I move it one place in the divisor, I also have to move it in the dividend. So this is where it starts. If you don't see it, that's where it starts. So I have to move it one place. So my decimal is here, and I'm going to make sure it goes there in our answer. So I normally list out my multiplication tables, but these are 2's, so hopefully we can do those in our head. So 2 into 3 goes 1, 2, and I'm left with 1. Bring down the 3. So then I go, how many times will 2 go into 13 without being too big? Which is 6. 6 times 2, 12. And I have 1 left. And I'm going to bring down that 0. How many times will 2 go into 10? 5. And it's going to go over that 0. 10. And I have nothing left. So your goal is to make sure that that decimal is at the end of your number. Okay? Okay. So now we're going to do number 10, but before we do number 10, just remember on number 9, when we divide fractions, we do Texas, and then once we make those improper, we're going to do keep, change, flip, and remember flip, and there's another word for reciprocal. So we're going to find the reciprocal of this second fraction after we make it improper. So on number 10, we started this last week, and we use our formula for area of a triangle, which is A equals half BH. And I talked to a few of you about this, and it's because if you think about it, it's not a great drawing, but this would look like, if my lines were straight, that this was a rectangle. And for area of a rectangle, we do base times height. But if you look at this, you can tell half of that rectangle is shaded. That is where we're getting the half from, because this would be base and height of the rectangle, and it's also base and height of the triangle. So half, my base is 20 inches. My height is 9 inches. Now there's different ways to do it, but personally, if I have an even number, I generally just take half. Half of 20 is 10 times 9, and then we just multiply that. So 10 times 9, and our units are going to be inches squared, okay? Because it's inches times inches, and area covers a surface. It's the squares that cover a surface. So literally, inches squared is square inches, little bitty inches that are square. So we have 90 of those. That would cover the surface if this was drawn to scale. So as we go to number 11, remember we're doing least to greatest. So start with the one that is most negative, okay? And I only see one negative, so I already know which one's going to be first, right? So I'm not going to even look at that one. Now, you can do this however you want, but if this were me, I would change these into percents. I know most people like to change them into decimals, but I like to change them into percents. Okay, so for instance, a half, like if you have half of a pizza, then you have 50% of that pizza, right? Half, we would compare it to 100. times 50 times 50 is 50, which would be 50%. Most of you hopefully know this one. 0.4, when we make it a percent, remember normally we go percent to decimal. This time we're going decimal to percent, so I'd move it 1, 2. So that would be 40%. Move it 1, 2. That is 9%, and I already have 1%, okay? So your job is to fill in these blanks going from least to greatest. Now, you want to make sure you're using the original number. So, for instance, the next one, like if you look at 1%, 9%, 40%, and 50%, you know it's 1%. That's the next largest number. And after that, it would be 9%, but I'm not going to put 9%, I'm going to put 0.09, okay? So make sure you put the original numbers because that's actually how you would see it, okay? If this was something that was tested and was multiple choice, you would actually see the original numbers.